You need to start self-improvement now. Because I believe life should be about improving. We should always strive for perfection even though it doesn't exist. Now, you and I can both agree that no one in this world is perfect. And I see a lot of adults and a lot of people in this world that never heal or that never improve that part of themselves. So they carry this pain they've had since their childhood. They carry that trauma and they bring it onto their adult lives, which then manifests into undesirable personality traits like narcissism, selfishness, being a people pleaser, and so on and so forth. So if you're in your late teens or even a young adult, I think it's mandatory for you to start self-improvement. Not only will your physique improve, your looks improve, your confidence, your demeanor, your relationships, your life in general, most importantly, your identity and personality will improve as an adult. But I'm not going to tell you to start going to the gym, do cold showers, and read 10 books or whatever. That's not real self-improvement. You see, real self-improvement should make your life worth living. It should genuinely improve your life for the better. So now you're probably asking, how do I get started? Well, it's quite simple. You first have to be self-aware. Because what's the point of fighting if there's nothing to fight for? You first have to know your weaknesses, your strengths. You need to know what needs improvement and what doesn't, because you don't want to be wasting all your time and effort on something that you don't really need to fix or improve. So you first have to start questioning everything you do. For example, if it's a bad habit you're starting to notice about yourself, you should start questioning how and where and what and everything about that habit and how it started, right? And I'll also give you my personal example. I never knew I was a people pleaser until my late teens. And it was when I started to ask why I started treating people better than myself, I got to the root of the problem. And I realized it was because I didn't have a father figure present in my life, which led to me having a thirst for validation over other people. So as a teenager, I would treat other people better than I would treat myself. I would put others' needs over my own, and I would always try to make the people around me happy while neglecting my own feelings. And I always thought this was just who I am. It was part of who I am, or it was just my identity, but that's not the case. It wasn't until I started questioning it and realized it was a problem. So then instead of going to the gym and doing cold showers, I decided to focus all my efforts and time into solving this big problem in front of me. And I'm not going to explain exactly how I was able to beat this problem personally because it's just going to take too long. In a nutshell, a lot of problems, most problems can be solved just by reverse engineering it. And what I mean by that is you do the opposite of what causes that problem to manifest. Say for example, your car starts to overheat and your engine starts to break down whenever you drive it. So the first course of action would be to stop driving your car. Then you want to analyze the engine. You want to check the engine with a mechanic, see what's actually causing the problem. And in the case of an engine, you would replace the bad parts with good new parts, right? And in the same way, when I was a people pleaser, I would put others' needs over my own. I first decided to stop doing that, and I instead did the opposite. I started to put my own needs over others. Now, this is all easier said than done. This takes way longer than I make it out to be, but that's what life is, right? It's all a marathon, it's not a sprint. Becoming a great person and improving your life takes time because great things take time. So just to recap, if you're still wondering where or how to start, I want you to first dive deep into yourself and find out what problems you're facing in your life that you weren't aware of earlier. Now I want to warn you of a common trap that people get into when starting self-improvement. And you get caught in this trap when you associate your emotions in your ability to be able to improve. Now what I mean by this is you're going to have days where you can't stick to your routine, you can't stick to your tasks of improving yourself. And sure, it's not a good thing that you couldn't do the task that you set yourself, but you shouldn't beat yourself up over it. Because when you associate your happiness on how many goals you can check off for the day, you start to become miserable and your life won't be worth living, which completely defeats the purpose of self-improvement. You need to have a third-person view of self-improvement. Obviously, try to stay consistent on your tasks every day, improving every aspect of your life, but you're going to have days where you can't stick to it, and it's inevitable. But just remember not to repeat it again, and don't beat yourself up for it, okay? Because if you don't, it just results in self-hate. You have to learn to love your ever-changing self. Celebrate every small win you get, and your life will really start to improve. Now lastly, I want to talk to you about your purpose in life. If you've never got into self-improvement before, you're probably unfamiliar with the direction you're going with life. You're probably still living in the moment and enjoying, which isn't a problem at all. But at a point, you have to have a reason for your life. You have to have a purpose. You need something that gets you out of the bed in the morning, something to strive towards, something to work towards. And this isn't something that can be forced. It finds you. Your purpose will find you. But it can never find you if you don't start self-improvement. You need to get to a point where you can let go of all the weights and burdens off your shoulder and you can start looking up. You won't be able to find your purpose if you don't fix everything about yourself first. So if there's one thing I need you to take away from this video, start self-improvement now so you can live a happy life with a clear purpose in the future.